The INFJ is often described as quiet, thoughtful, and deeply emotional. But behind that calm presence is something much stronger: mental resilience. INFJs might get hurt, but they don't stay down. They may cry in private, but they rise again with new understanding. Their mind doesn't break easily because it was never built for the surface. It was built for depth, meaning, and growth. Many people mistake kindness for weakness. They see the INFJ's empathy, patience, and sensitivity and assume they're fragile. But what they don't see is the solid foundation underneath. The INFJ mind has been shaped by years of reflection, learning, and emotional challenge. It knows how to bend without breaking, how to shift without losing itself, and how to rebuild even after loss. In this video, we're going to explore why the INFJ mind can't be broken, not just emotionally, but mentally, spiritually, and even intellectually. We'll look at 6 powerful traits that make them one of the most resilient types out there. These are not loud traits. They don't show up in arguments or power moves. They show up in quiet moments, private choices, and long-term strength. This resilience is not about toughness on the outside. It's about staying whole on the inside. It's about knowing who you are, even when the world tries to shake it out of you. The INFJ may go through hardship, betrayal, confusion, and heartbreak, but they come out wiser, not weaker. Their mind is wired to process pain, grow from it, and move forward with purpose. And because of that, it becomes harder and harder to break them with each test they survive. If you've ever underestimated an INFJ, thinking they would fall apart under pressure, you probably missed what was happening beneath the surface. While you were watching them struggle, they were rebuilding their strength, piece by piece. Let's look at the 6 ways the INFJ mind proves its strength every single day, and why no matter what life throws at them, they never truly break. Way number 1, deep emotional insight. One of the core reasons the INFJ mind stays strong is because it understands emotion, not just in others, but in themselves. They don't push emotions away. They feel them fully. Then they start asking questions. Why did I feel that? What does it mean? Where did it come from? This level of emotional insight gives them power. Most people try to avoid pain. INFJs go into it. They explore the sadness, the fear, the anger. They sit with it. They let it teach them. This doesn't mean they enjoy suffering. It means they understand that emotions carry messages. And by learning from those messages, they grow stronger. INFJs know when they're feeling off, and they try to understand why. That self-awareness helps them keep from being overwhelmed. They can slow down and take a step back, even in tough moments. They don't always react in the heat of the moment because their mind is already analyzing what's happening underneath the surface. This depth also helps them process experiences more completely. Where others may carry emotional baggage for years without realizing it, INFJs tend to work through their pain sooner. They talk to themselves honestly. They write. They reflect. They cry if they need to, but then they start to heal. And they do this privately. Most people will never see the work an INFJ does to keep themselves emotionally balanced, but it's happening all the time. That quiet self-care is what makes them so resilient. Another part of their strength is that they don't fear emotional complexity. Life is full of mixed emotions: love and sadness, hope and fear, joy and grief. INFJs can feel many things at once, and they don't shut it down. Instead, they accept it. They find the meaning in it. They hold space for contradiction. This emotional insight also helps them forgive, not because they forget, but because they understand. They can often see why someone acted out of pain. They can recognize patterns of fear or insecurity in others. This helps them let go of bitterness and keep moving forward with a clear mind. It's not that they don't get hurt, they do, deeply. But they don't let that pain harden them. They let it deepen them. And that's a form of strength that few people understand. Because INFJs can process pain with wisdom, their mind stays flexible. It can take in hard truths without breaking. It can adjust to new challenges without losing its center. That emotional insight is like an internal guide, helping them heal while others are still stuck in the storm. And that's what makes them hard to break. Their emotions don't control them. They work with them. They grow from them. And over time, that emotional depth becomes their armor. Way number 2. Purpose-driven mindset. Another reason the INFJ mind stays unbroken is because of purpose. INFJs don't just live, they live with direction. Even when they feel lost, they're still guided by something deeper inside them. They ask themselves what matters, what's worth fighting for, and what kind of life they want to build. That clarity gives them strength. When you know your purpose, it's harder to be shaken by outside pressure. INFJs may get discouraged or knocked down, but their purpose pulls them back up. They know there's more to their life than just surviving. They want to grow, create, help, and leave something behind that matters. That internal compass is always on. This sense of mission starts early. Even as kids, INFJs tend to ask big questions. What's right? What's fair? Why are we here? They carry that sense of depth into adulthood, and it shapes every major decision they make. They don't chase what everyone else wants. They chase meaning. This mindset helps them stay strong when life gets hard. When they lose a job, a friendship, or a goal, they don't just fall apart. They feel the pain, but they step back and ask, what can I learn from this? How does this fit into my bigger story? That kind of thinking turns setbacks into fuel. Purpose also gives them focus. INFJs don't waste much time on things that don't align with their values. They might look like they're quiet or distant, but really, they're filtering. They're asking, is this worth my energy? That inner filter protects their mind from being pulled in too many directions. This way of thinking also helps them in relationships. INFJs don't want shallow connections. They look for depth, trust, and growth. And if someone doesn't respect that, the INFJ moves on, not to be cold, but to stay aligned with what matters. They're not here to please everyone. They're here to live in a way that feels true. Even during burnout or depression, INFJs often hold on to one small thread of hope, a reminder of their purpose. Maybe it's a person they want to help, a story they want to finish, a problem they want to solve. That one thread is enough to keep them going when everything else feels heavy. This kind of purpose isn't flashy. It's not about fame or power. It's about impact. It's about living in a way that matters, even if no one notices. And that quiet drive is one of the strongest forces inside an INFJ's mind. So even when life hits hard, the INFJ doesn't fall apart, because they know why they're here. And that knowledge keeps them whole. Way number 3, reflective processing. The INFJ mind is built for reflection. It doesn't just react to life, it processes it. Slowly, quietly, and deeply. After a conversation, a setback, or even a small decision, the INFJ steps back and starts to think. What happened? Why did it happen? What can I take from this? That process is called reflective processing, and it's one of the biggest reasons their mind stays so strong. Many people move fast through life. They go from one experience to the next without stopping. INFJs don't work like that. They pause. They analyze. They replay events and feelings, not because they're stuck, but because they want to understand. They know that growth doesn't come from rushing, it comes from reflection. This mindset helps INFJs learn from pain. When something hurts, they don't just try to forget it. They look into it. They try to see the lesson inside the loss. They ask, what did this teach me about myself? That mindset helps them turn emotional pain into insight, and that insight becomes strength. This way of thinking also helps them adjust their actions. INFJs don't like making the same mistake twice. So after something goes wrong, they think deeply about how they handled it. Could they have spoken differently? Were they ignoring red flags? Did they abandon their values? These aren't shallow questions. They're part of how the INFJ evolves. Reflective processing also helps INFJs stay grounded. Life can be chaotic. People can be unpredictable. But INFJs create calm by thinking things through. They don't need someone else to fix things for them. They just need time to reflect, organize their thoughts, and find their next step. This strength can be seen after emotional trauma too. INFJs don't forget what happened, but they work to make sense of it. They try to pull meaning from it. That doesn't erase the pain, but it gives the pain a place. It becomes part of their story, not the end of it. Journaling is a big part of this for many INFJs. Writing gives them a place to untangle their thoughts. It's how they track their growth and notice patterns. They may go back and read old entries just to see how far they've come. That habit builds a sense of direction and self-trust over time. But there is a downside. Sometimes INFJs can reflect too much. They may replay a moment over and over, unsure if they missed something. That overthinking can be heavy. Still, Most INFJs learn how to balance reflection with release. Once they've seen the lesson, they let go and move forward. In a world that rewards fast answers and quick fixes, this slow, thoughtful process is rare. But it gives INFJs real mental stability. They don't just react, they grow. And that growth protects them. When life tests them, they don't collapse. They go inward. They listen to themselves. They remember what they've already overcome. And that history of reflection becomes a foundation that no outside force can shake. Way number 4, empathetic boundaries. Empathy is often seen as a soft trait, but for INFJs, it's part of their strength, especially when they learn how to protect it. INFJs feel what others feel. They notice pain before it's spoken. They carry emotional energy in every space they enter, but they don't just absorb emotions blindly. Over time, they learn how to set quiet boundaries, and those boundaries are what keep their minds strong. At first, INFJs struggle with this. They want to help everyone. They want to be the calm in the storm, but helping too much can lead to burnout. That's when they begin to learn the value of balance. Empathy doesn't mean losing yourself. It means caring while also protecting your own peace. INFJs learn to sense when they're giving too much. Their body feels tense. Their mind feels drained. That's the signal. And with time, they learn to step back, not because they don't care, but because they need to stay whole. That act of stepping back is where resilience begins. These boundaries show up in simple ways: saying no, leaving a conversation early, not responding right away, creating space between their emotions and someone else's chaos. These are quiet decisions, but they have big effects. Empathetic boundaries also help INFJs avoid toxic patterns. When they were younger, they might have tried to fix people who were broken. They gave and gave, hoping love would change someone. But over time, they learn that not everyone wants to heal. Some people just want someone else to carry the weight. So they step away, not with hate, but with clarity. They begin to choose who gets their energy. And when someone doesn't respect their time or care, they stop giving it. That boundary is not cold. It's healthy. It's what keeps them mentally stable. These boundaries also help INFJs recover faster. After a painful event, they don't throw themselves into fixing the world. They rest. They pull back. They check in with themselves. That pause allows their mind to reset, instead of breaking down under pressure. The best part is, they don't need to explain these choices. INFJs don't set loud boundaries. They just quietly decide what's enough. They stop answering certain texts. They cancel plans that drain them. They leave rooms that feel wrong. And they trust that anyone who really sees them will understand. This approach also helps them grow their empathy. When they're not overwhelmed, they can care more deeply and with more focus. Their heart stays open, but not exposed. Their mind stays kind, but not overrun. That balance is rare and powerful. Empathy is often used against sensitive people, but INFJs learn to protect it. And when they do, it becomes one of their strongest tools. It helps them stay kind in a hard world. It helps them hold space for others without losing space for themselves. That's why their empathy doesn't make them weak. It makes them smart. And when it's protected by clear, gentle boundaries, it becomes unshakable. Way number 5, visionary thinking. One thing people often miss about INFJs is how forward-focused they are. Even when they're stuck in a bad moment, their mind is already looking ahead. Not in a fantasy kind of way, but in a structured, thoughtful way. They see what's possible. They picture what could be better. And that vision gives them strength when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Visionary thinking means they don't stay stuck. INFJs take time to reflect, but they don't live in the past. They believe in change. They believe in growth. Even when life hurts, they know it's not the end of the story. Their mind starts planning, even if the first step is small. This shows up when they're going through loss or disappointment. While others might get frozen by pain, the INFJ starts asking, "What now? What's the next move?" They begin to build hope, quietly, carefully, but it's real. That hope becomes a mental ladder they climb out of hard places. Their vision also helps them stay motivated. INFJs don't need constant praise to keep going. They need meaning. They need a picture in their mind of what they're working toward. It might be a healthier relationship, a creative goal, or a better version of themselves. As long as they can see it, they keep moving. This long-term thinking helps them stay focused when others give up. It helps them plan even when no one's watching. It gives them reason to keep learning, keep working, and keep believing. That inner direction is strong, and it can't be taken away by outside noise. Even in relationships, visionary thinking keeps them stable. INFJs look at long-term compatibility. They imagine how trust can grow over time. If someone doesn't fit that vision, they quietly step away. They're not looking for drama. They're looking for depth that lasts. This mindset also helps them deal with failure. INFJs don't like failing, but they accept it as part of growth. If something doesn't work, they step back, rethink, and try again. They don't need instant success. They just need to feel that they're moving forward. Sometimes people think INFJs are just dreamers, but that's not true. Their vision isn't random. It's rooted in logic, values, and lived experience. It's not about escape. It's about creating something real and lasting. And when life feels heavy, their vision becomes their strength. They can close their eyes and picture something better, and then they go build it quietly, piece by piece. Way number 6, inner harmony. INFJs spend a lot of time looking inward. They think deeply about their thoughts, their choices, and how their actions match their values. This constant self-checking leads to something rare, inner harmony. It's not about always being happy. It's about feeling at peace with who they are and how they live. That inner balance gives them mental strength that's hard to shake. Many people are pulled in different directions by outside opinions. They change themselves to fit in. They chase goals that don't feel right just because others expect it. INFJs don't work like that. Their minds are built to check in with their values first. Does this feel true to me? Does it reflect who I really am? That habit builds a deep connection between thought and action. INFJs don't just think, they act with purpose. They choose friends, jobs, and habits that match their inner truth. And when things fall out of balance, they notice quickly. That awareness helps them make changes before things spiral out of control. This harmony is also why they can stay calm in chaos. Even when the world around them is falling apart, they can go inward and find stability. Their peace doesn't depend on the outside. It comes from staying connected to what matters inside. That's what gives them such quiet strength in difficult moments. Inner harmony also helps them recover from emotional pain. They don't just move on. They find out what the experience meant. They ask if they stayed true to themselves. If they made a mistake, they admit it. If they were hurt, they feel it. But either way, they come back to that center point, who they are and what they believe. This doesn't mean they're perfect. INFJs struggle with doubt, confusion, and guilt like anyone else. But because they're always reflecting and realigning, they don't get stuck for long. Their mental habits pull them back into balance. It's not instant, but it's steady. Spirituality or a sense of higher meaning can also be part of this harmony. Many INFJs feel connected to something bigger than themselves. That might be a faith, a belief in energy, or just a quiet trust that things are unfolding the way they should. That belief gives them a deeper kind of peace, especially during hard times. This inner balance is also what helps them protect their boundaries. When something doesn't feel right, they notice, and instead of ignoring that discomfort, they use it as a sign to pause or step away. That self-respect keeps them safe and mentally strong. Even in solitude, INFJs can feel whole. They don't always need constant connection. In fact, time alone often restores their harmony. They use that time to think, recharge, and return to themselves. That habit is what keeps them from burning out completely, even when life feels heavy. Inner harmony also helps them let go of people and situations that no longer fit. They may feel sad, but they won't keep holding on to something that throws them out of alignment. Their peace matters too much, and that kind of clarity makes them harder to manipulate or control. So even when life gets messy, the INFJ doesn't fall apart. They go inward, check their truth, and adjust from there. That kind of inner stability isn't flashy, but it's what makes them so mentally unbreakable. The INFJ mind isn't loud. It doesn't fight for attention, but it is one of the strongest, most resilient minds you'll ever find. It holds depth, purpose, reflection, empathy, and clarity, all quietly working in the background, even when no one is watching. What makes the INFJ mind unbreakable isn't that it avoids pain. It's that it understands pain, learns from it, and grows through it. It doesn't run from hard moments. It sits with them, works through them, and comes out wiser on the other side. Whether it's their emotional insight, their drive for meaning, their thoughtful reflection, or their ability to find peace within. INFJs are built for survival, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. They bend, but they don't break. So if you are an INFJ, remember that your strength is not in how loud you are, it's in how deep you go. And if you know an INFJ, know that behind their quiet presence is a mind that cannot be shaken, a heart that keeps beating with purpose, and a soul that continues to rise no matter what life throws at it.